Hey friends, it's Aki Dearest. So anime, what a surprise on this channel. It's much bigger in Japan, we know it, it's a given, but we still love it. And with that, there's a lot of series that exist out there that just haven't made it outside of Japan. There's a lot of things that we haven't been given yet for several reasons. Even with the most popular stuff in Japan, there's been a lot of times where they tried bringing that here, but it never really caught on. So after doing a little bit of research and giving my own thoughts on why this might be, I decided to just comprise it into a video. What a surprise. So without further ado, I'm going to try and answer the question why some anime just doesn't catch on outside of Japan, even when the industry really tries. So let's take a really big series like Doraemon.
Doraemon, Doraemon, Doraemon.
So if you watched anime for a while, chances are you've seen this face, and you've probably known his name for a bit. Maybe there's some of you that did dwell into Doraemon. Maybe some of you are really big fans of this. And I think the best way people have tried to convey how popular Doraemon is in Japan is like, it's like they're Mickey Mouse.
Ordinary inverter against Sharp J-Tech inverter refrigerator.
Sharp's new plasma cluster air purifier comes with a unique mosquito catcher.
Besides the internet, here in the US, I guess you can find Doraemon if you really look. And in comparison to Japan, it's almost impossible to go through your entire visit there without seeing this character's face. If not Doraemon, you're probably seeing Dragon Quest or maybe Saint Seiya, which are also series that never really caught on outside the country. One big reason that Doraemon worked so well in Japan in comparison to other countries is that, like Sazae-san, Doraemon is so specific to traditional Japanese culture. The main character, Nobita, is the embodiment of just a typical Japanese kid. Nobita is just a really great reflection of the Japanese people that doesn't really catch on with anyone else outside of the country. That's just the way he is. In 2014, there was a moment where the United States did try to bring Doraemon to the country, but it did not catch on. Check this out, look, see, Doraemon brought to the USA in 2014 by Disney XD.
Meet the cat that will change all that.
This is one of those extra-dimensional deals.
The future is meow.
Forgot to tell you about that!
Now, doing this did create some fans outside of Japan, but it's so minuscule, and another big factor of why it just never caught on is the immense amount of episodes that Doraemon has. I'm talking about, it's an amount that reaches back to 1979. I don't know the amount, but I guess just saying that kind of puts it in perspective. Imagine if you're a producer in the US or any other country, and someone just puts Doraemon on your desk and says, hey, do you think that you can translate all of these episodes, or at least a good amount of them, change up the story to be a little bit more relatable to your country? And then you'd probably be like, fam, nah. So the budget that would have had to go into Doraemon would have had to been making the translation, making it more relatable to kids outside of Japan, aka changing the scripting and the setting, and probably just picking different episodes. And with the voice acting and the risk of this just not catching on, it discouraged a lot of producers just not even wanting to touch this. So it just stayed in Japan, and it was probably best that way business-wise. And I just say with that one reason alone, that Doraemon depicts Japanese culture so well, is just the biggest reason that also Sazae-san just never caught on. A series like Detective Conan, though, is played a little bit differently. There's not really anything in that series that is strictly just for Japanese culture. It's about a kid who outdoes adults, which we have done in the past and have done extraordinarily well.
And it would have been mine if it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
Meddling young fools. They've gotten away with a king's ransom.
But it was just too long of a series to really bring out here. Now, there is more anime that I saw while in Japan that I never even heard of, yet it has like the biggest following ever. If you guys want to see that list for yourselves, I made an article about it. Some of you already probably saw it. I'll put a link to that in the description below. Now, there is one particular series that I want to touch upon that I believe managed to share its success and popularity with the rest of the world after a certain amount of time of being in Japan for so long, and that is Osomatsu-san. Now, before I get into Osomatsu-san, I want to touch upon its first series, Osomatsu-kun. For those of you that don't know, this was a very old classic in Japan back in the 1960s, where it started off as a manga in a magazine, and then it had a couple of anime adaptations, and they were still just really in Japan. Then it came back as a new series, Osomatsu-san, back in 2016. And I talked about this in my Otaku Monthly Favorites video, but I just want to touch again that this was a series where it managed to cater to the fans that grew up with the original run, but it managed to also introduce itself to those people that have never seen the original. And not only that, it is so funny and hilarious on just how much it picks at other anime and also just the humor put behind it. I feel like I'm living memories that I never had. But then I saw a lot of you were tweeting it out to me, and I feel like one of the biggest reasons it became so popular is because now it's accessible. The second one is because it's modernized itself to fit the way that anime works nowadays, but still respecting the original format of why it was so popular in Japan in the first place, and how it knows it's trying to fit in with the genre now, but it doesn't want to sell itself out. And it's not so specific to Japanese culture, so that's a big plus. Another one is the art style. It matches how modern anime is nowadays. And this last perk, I feel like it applies more to Japan, but all of the voice actors are idols, and in Japan, idol culture has a craze like no other. But I've already covered this in my Otaku Monthly Favorites, but I thought it was very fitting for this kind of topic here on one of the series that was mainly just famous in Japan but has managed to kind of break out of that more. But today now, Osomatsu-san is a successor of an older series that just caught on with a lot of people, including myself. My gosh, how did I go for so long not watching this? And the fact that it is accessible now. Anyway, so those are some examples where they have some reasons for other series out there. There's a couple of other reasons, but those are like the biggest ones that I wanted to kind of put out there. Even though with licensing issues and the target audience, still anime popularity has grown even wider than it ever has been all around the world. And I believe that anime is just on a whole different level than it was like 7 or 10 years ago. But I'm still glad that it has been able to stretch itself out now, and the community is just getting bigger and bigger. It's becoming even more noticed by directors and artists out there who just want to embrace it and try to dive into the industry. And I don't care how popular it gets. I'm still going to watch it, and as long as I still love it and it keeps going, then, you know, it'll be great. But I'm gonna stop the video here, guys. That's really all that I wanted to get out. And again, in the description below, you'll find an article of me listing some more anime. But now that I've introduced some anime that were more popular in Japan than most other places, how about you guys list the other way around? Anime that managed to be more popular than inside Japan. Ooh, that's gonna be tough. Or a walk in the park for some of you. Feel free to go share them in the comments below. So I appreciate you guys for watching, and subscribe to my channel for more anime and otaku related content. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!